How is it going, everyone? I hope you guys are having a great start to your Saturday morning, but I'm here today to bring you guys my review on Tokyo Ghoul chapter 129 entitled Suffering. And guys, this chapter was really good. We had some good reveals and also that ending panel that basically confirmed that Touka is in fact pregnant. She is carrying Kaneki's child and she's trying to keep it alive by eating human food. Very similar to how back in earlier parts of Tokyo Ghoul when she used to eat Yoriko's food, and we even had those panels of her in the girls' bathroom trying to keep it down. Even that side dialogue compared it to that as well. So that is very interesting. I know that a lot of Touka fans are going to be very happy about that, but not only did that happen in this chapter, we also got a reveal about Ko, but also the whole thing going on with Furuta, the CCG, and also Bunjin and Yoriko. So much to talk about in this chapter, but before I dive into all that, let's start all the way back at the beginning of this chapter where we start off with Ayato looking at this underground city and him and his subordinates basically going down trying to investigate the situation. They see that all the buildings are basically abandoned, but there seems to be signs of people that have lived here, and it looks like it has had inhabitants living down in this underground city. So Ayato and his men are basically looking for the One-Eyed King, and he even says in this chapter, I hope we find this one-eyed bastard and hopefully meet with him. And if you actually go to page 5, you can see people hiding in the shadows. I didn't catch this on my first live reaction read through. I actually took it like 2 to 3 times to actually notice that there were people in this panel shadowed out. So odds are these are the people that are following this one-eyed ghoul that Ayato right now is currently looking for Kaneki, and most likely these people will come out of the shadows, basically stop Ayato and his group, and most likely lead them to go meet with this one-eyed ghoul. So very good setup right there. I'm really hoping that we meet this one-eyed ghoul, hopefully in like 2 to 3 chapters at most, because I feel like we're leading up to something pretty big and having a pretty big reveal coming up very soon with this one-eyed ghoul. So moving on from that, I gotta talk about the Furuta and Bunjin talk that happened in the main CCG office, because Furuta, I got some heavy dragon vibes, you know, that dragon project that he's been talking about, especially with last chapter, that he's like recruiting Bunjin into this dragon project. That's at least what I got from the dialogue, that he was, you know, basically sugarcoating him. He was trying to basically give him all of this praise until, you know, he dropped the bomb on him about, you know, the section about, you know, harboring ghouls and how it can be punished. And I knew immediately where that was going for this chapter. I knew that he was talking about Yoriko, and that he, as soon as he said, take a walk with me, I knew that and I saw the interrogating room in that panel, you knew that he was taking Bunjin to go see Yoriko in the interrogation room and basically tell Bunjin, it's like, yeah, we arrested your now new wife and she has been harboring and protecting a ghoul that she has known all her life. So I was like, yo, Furuta, you have no chill whatsoever. And you even saw Aura and Mutsuki right there, and you could tell by Bunjin's face that he was pissed about this overall situation, and it looked like he was about to throw a punch at Mutsuki. Like, oh my god, there's just so much setup right now, and it seems that like Furuta is basically blackmailing Bunjin with Yoriko's imprisonment to basically get him to do whatever he wants him to do. And most likely this is going to be going after Goat, but also Kaneki as well, or even finding Touka. And I have no idea if like Bunjin is actually going to be tasked with assassinating Touka. There's so much right now that's being set up that's like this could go any way, and Ishida is doing a wonderful job at just setting up all of the players, and then once it all goes down, you know that shit is about to go down. But speaking about stuff that does go down in this chapter, we do finally get the reveal of Ko's true identity. I know a lot of people were speculating that Ko was the secret operative for the Oggai, that he was infiltrating Goat, and it turns out to actually be true, because as soon as I saw him trying to stick a USB drive into their network, I was like, he's a traitor. He is a traitor. He is an Oggai. I knew it right away. And then as soon as Shu like grabbed his arm, I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm just going on to look at my favorite YouTuber. I really like that. I thought that was very funny. And you can just feel the tension from these panels about Shu and Ko, and then as soon as you turn that page, you saw them going at it. They were fighting, they were brawling, and I was like, yo, let's go. And I had no worries for Shu, because Shu is very strong, and even this new character Ko, even though he's revealed to be an Oggai, I still was not really worried for Shu. He can handle himself in combat, and also that reveal that the Oggai actually can go from 1 Kakugan to 2 Kakugans. That threw me off in my live reaction because I remember seeing him early on having 2 Kakugans activated, which was why I was very skeptical about him being an Oggai member, because all artificial ghouls that had been created all had 1 Kakugan eye. But then in this chapter, it got revealed, you know, very early on in the fight that Ko did in fact have a Kakugan eye, and then went to frame B, I believe it was frame B, and then activated his 2 Kakugan eyes. So I do like the fact that it's the frames that actually, you know, help them change from going from 1 eyes to 2 eyes. And in one chapter, Ishida was able to explain that very perfectly, so I do thank him for that. But then I love the moment. As soon as Shu gets knocked out of the train, we have Zero Squad come in, and they just surround Ko, and they're just like, oh, we got him now. And I love the dialogue that Ko actually delivers. He goes, oh, Zero Squad. He goes, I guess traders of a feather flock together. Hey, Zero Squad. I love that dialogue. I love that panel of just having Hirako and all of the Zero Squad children just right there, they say having their blades drawn in his throat. I was like, yo, this is hype. I absolutely love that moment. And then he drops the knowledge that he wants to deliver something to Kaneki, to the One-Eyed King of Goat. And it turns out to be this letter. And another thing too, I even wrote this down too, Ko is not his real name, which I kind of figured that was actually not going to be the case. And his real name is actually Hajime Hazuki, and he is probably that leader of the Oggai that got mentioned about 2 chapters back, you know, when the Oggai was basically saying like, damn it, our leader's not here. So I really do like that is most likely foreshadowed from that point. And I know that's where a lot of people got that speculation and theory started with, when the Oggai basically saying that their leader was not present. So I really do like that. But then this actually delves more into the letter that gets, you know, read through in this chapter. And I do want to point out before I even talk about the letter within this chapter, there is a panel that actually raised a question for me, because it looked like Kaneki from his eye was bleeding. It could just be, you know, something that Ishida just like put in, but it does seem like he does have like a wound on him in one panel when he's talking about Ko being imprisoned. I just wanted to point that out because that did seem very, very interesting to me. But this letter that Ko or Hajime ends up, you know, delivering to Kaneki basically was written by Mitsuki. And when you're reading this letter, you know for a fact that it's all a lie. It's all a ruse, just trying to get Kaneki to come out of hiding and to meet with Mitsuki at the chateau in between the 12th and the 17th. And basically Mitsuki saying like, I want to fight for you. I was a little crazy back then, but I'm not anymore. And I'm reading through that. I'm like, sure, Mitsuki, whatever you say. You're not crazy, sure. I'll believe you as far as I can throw you. So I do like the fact that that letter was actually over the whole panels of Bunjin coming to the realization that his wife, Yoriko, was actually arrested, and having Ora Mitsuki basically responsible for arresting his wife. But then Kaneki ends up burning the letter, and he immediately says like, no, we're not believing this. This is a trap, and I want you guys to basically keep a lookout on Hajime and make sure that he doesn't escape. We have an Oggai prisoner right now. Let's use him to our advantage. And I absolutely love that Kaneki isn't falling for this, and he is still thinking strategically about the overall situation and not falling for Mitsuki's game. So bravo, Kaneki. But now is the piece de resistance of this entire chapter that I know a lot of people are being crazy about. They're absolutely loving this, and it definitely leaves theories and speculations moving forward about what this means for both Kaneki and Touka and their relationship, because it turns out that package that Nishiki ended up bringing to Touka was in fact human food, and it was a burger. And I knew that a lot of people were speculating that Touka asked Nishiki to go out and get a pregnancy test, but I'm like, there is no way that Touka would ever ask Nishiki to do that, and never in a million years would I see Nishiki actually being like, sure, I'll get that for you, if it was like a pregnancy test that she told him to go get. And seeing now that it was in fact a hamburger or a cheeseburger that she told Nishiki to get, now I totally understand why he said the things he said, where he's like, I got this for you, I don't want to know what it's for. And in this chapter, it's basically revealed that she is eating human food in order to keep the child inside her alive, because it turns out, yes, Touka is pregnant. And I do like that this is actually the reverse of Eto's mother, because Eto's mother was a human who had to eat basically humans in order to keep the ghoul child inside her alive. But here, it's reversed, because Touka is a ghoul, and she basically has a half ghoul or a human child inside her, or at least part human, and has to eat human food in order for that child to get the sustenance it needs in order to survive. So there's a lot of things just to talk about with Touka right there. What does this mean for Kaneki and Touka's relationship moving forward? Will Touka actually be able to basically keep consuming human food in order to keep the child inside her alive? And you also got to remember this as well. The more human food that Touka eats, the weaker she's going to become. And so when it comes to a fight later on down the road, if if Touka has to defend for herself, odds are she won't be able to do that. We all know what happens in the gourmet arc way back in Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 after Touka was eating all this human food and she wasn't able to basically match up with Tsukiyama and had to take a chunk out of Kaneki's shoulder in order to basically get back at full power. So there's a lot of things set up right here that actually spell suffering possibly later on down the road. So there's a lot of things set in motion, and this whole Touka pregnancy I know is going to set the fandom a storm, but as of right now, just with this chapter, I think we should still just be happy with the fact that right now, Kaneki basically has an heir. Him and Touka have a child possibly on the way, and until, you know, tragedy strikes and something bad happens, we should at least be happy with this moment that we have right here. So guys, that's basically all of the stuff that went down in this chapter, and you guys can definitely expect a separate discussion video basically going more in depth about the whole Touka pregnancy and what this means for Kaneki and Touka moving forward within the story. But I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on everything that happened within this chapter. Not just Touka's stuff, I definitely want to hear about that stuff, but also the whole stuff with Ko actually being Hijime, a member of the Oggai squad, and also everything to do with the one-eyed ghoul that could possibly be revealed in the next 2 to 3 chapters. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts, guys. Leave that down below. And if you guys are fans of Tokyo Ghoul and have just discovered me for the first time, feel free to subscribe. I would love to talk with you guys. I love this Tokyo community that is slowly forming around my YouTube channel, and I love talking with you guys down in the comments. It's one of my favorite things about making these videos, and it's just overall fun experience. So that's gonna be it for this review, guys. You guys can expect a Touka discussion video coming up in the upcoming week. But until then, and until my next Tokyo Ghoul review or live reaction, I'll talk with you guys then. All right, guys, see you later.